fingerprints on the lens. Today we're talking about why you shouldn't put your fingers on your lens. Welcome back, you guys, to yet another video. My name is Samuel Johnson. In all seriousness, we're not talking about fingerprints on lenses. We're actually going to be talking about one of my favorite most used lenses. This is the guy. This is the one. This is the Canon 100mm macro lens 2.8L. I bought this lens like 2 years ago, and let me tell you, it has been one of my most used lenses ever. I have had it on my camera so often. I used it on my crop sensor camera when I had my crop sensor, and I've used it on my full frame now that I have full frame. Both cameras, it works amazing. So yeah, let's talk about why this lens is so good, for me personally at least. So it's a macro lens. So basically a macro lens means that the minimum focusing distance in which you can actually put the lens close to a subject and actually get it in focus is super close. You can get really close, fine details with this lens. Most lenses have focusing distances that are quite a bit further off than a macro lens, and that's kind of why a macro lens is a specialty lens. That's what it does best. That's not all this lens does. This lens is amazing as just a lightweight telephoto lens. Even though it's only 2.8, the compression is absolutely amazing. It's so good. You can do fine details like it's actually made for, or you can just use it as a light telephoto lens. The thing is, I don't really use it, honestly, as a macro lens. Like, I will once in a while, but the majority of my use with this lens is not with its macro capabilities. I like to do a lot of action sports and like skiing and biking and hiking and those kinds of things. So being able to take my camera gear with me when I'm doing those things is important, but yet I can't take a ton of gear because it's gonna weigh me down, it could get broken, those kinds of things. So I'd rather keep a more minimal, lightweight kit. And this allows me to do that. So the pros of this lens is it's an L lens, so that means it's weather sealed. It's got a decent build quality. It's a little more plasticky, a little more lightweight than some of the other L lenses that are out there, but I've had no issues. It works great. It's still built very well. You have autofocus, image stabilization, everything that you would need on a lens, and then you have your switches to kind of set your focusing distance. So you can kind of set it to full range, so it can be anywhere from its actual macro capabilities to its furthest infinity focusing distance, or you can do 0.5 meters to infinity, and so that way it's not actually searching for any type of focus close up to the lens, any type of macro shots. It's just gonna skip past that altogether, and it'll give you quicker focus because it'll know just to look in a certain range. And then you got your macro switch as well, so that just makes it search for focus in a very tight range, very close to the lens. So if you're shooting macro shots, you'd want it in that, so the lens isn't hunting to infinity for focus. So that's what those switches are for. Works really well. I usually just leave it on full because I never know what I'm going to be shooting, and I just want to have it ready to focus on anything. The next thing that's great about this lens is that it's cheap. You can pick these up for like $700-800 Canadian used, and it's arguably one of Canon's sharpest lenses. It's a prime lens, so I mean that makes the form factor smaller, and it makes the build quality better, and it makes the image quality better, and all those kinds of things. So it's great in that regard. So yeah, I don't really know what else there is to say about this lens except that I love it. I'll be throwing up example images on the screen for you. But yeah, it's sharp, it's quick focusing, it's lightweight, and it just works for my needs. Who is this lens for? I mean, I would just tell you to get it because it's so cheap and it's amazing to have in your kit, but editing Sam here. I think I made it sound like this is just the crazy cheap lens that anyone can go and buy. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's cheap for what you get. For the versatility, quality, all those things, it's very cheap for what you get. Hopefully that makes sense. I mean, obviously if you're shooting detail shots, if you're a wedding photographer, those kinds of things, or you want to get into weddings, I would get it for those detail shots. It's a great macro lens. I'd say it's the best macro lens that Canon makes, in my opinion. So yeah, if you're getting into shooting weddings or something like that, you want detail shots, or your product photography, this is really great. Or if you just want something lightweight, but a lightweight telephoto to carry around for action sports, those kinds of things, portraits even, it's good for. getting close-ups of like the eye, like the iris, the detail. This lens does that very, very well. If you're strictly a wide shooter, then I mean, obviously this lens isn't for you. If you rely on prime lenses that have apertures of like 1.8, 1.4, I mean, it's 2.8, so it doesn't let as much light in, but maybe you'd want to pick up something like an 85 1.4. You won't have the macro capabilities, but you'll have a similar focal length with a better aperture. And the same with like the Sigma 105 1.4 is also a good option if you want that 1.4, but this lens is a lot lighter than those lenses and smaller. And yeah, so I don't know, like if you want any type of telephoto lens, if you want like your first like solid quality telephoto lens, I would get this lens. I use it for landscapes as well, and you can stitch together shots because it's actually not that wide. It's great for just punching in a bit for mountains, anything like that, trees, whatever, when you're out shooting landscapes. I don't really have anything bad to say about this lens. Focus ring is super big, super smooth. The throw is really good on it. And yeah, you got this area here. If you wanted to put a lens collar on it, it doesn't actually come with one, but if you wanted to like mount it to a tripod or something, it's not really big enough that you would need to, but it's an option. It's got the placement for it. And then yeah, like I said, weather sealing, everything like that. It's cheaper, it's high quality, it's versatile. Yeah, it works great and I love it. And I'm gonna continue to use it, and it's definitely a go-to lens when I'm gonna take a trip or go on a shoot that I don't know exactly what everything's gonna entail. This lens is gonna be going with me because it's just small and versatile and all the things I said. I love it. So yeah, I also use this for video. It works well for video as well. So this is not just a photography lens. This works great for all the things I said about photo. It works the same for video. Close-ups, portrait, like close-ups of faces, detail shots, those kinds of things. If you just want a little bit more of a punched in shot, video-wise, this works amazing for that as well. Focus is good, and yeah. I really hope that was concise. I just wanted to kind of share quickly about one of my favorite lenses, maybe give you some input into if you're looking at buying another lens. Maybe you don't have a lens like this. That's a very, very, very good option. They also make a 100mm 2.8 non-L version that's a bit cheaper. So it does a similar thing. Pros have used that lens for products and stuff like that as well. So you don't have to get the L version. There's two different versions, and depending on what your budget is, pick what works for you. But yeah, hopefully this was informative. Hopefully it was quick. Thank you for tuning in. Leave a comment below any video suggestions you have. Let me know what you enjoy watching from me or from other people or whatever it might be. What kind of videos you really like. That'll help me out a lot, because I think it's important to make things that the people watching actually enjoy and don't just click away and watch something else. So I want to make the best videos I can that are actually interesting to you. So please leave a comment, leaving suggestions. That would be wonderful. I think that's it. Hopefully you have a great day, great morning, great evening, wherever in this world you are. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.